Hi, welcome to Week 7 Research in the Technical Workplace. This week, you're going to begin your second major assignment, the policy memo. Your first task is to choose which assignment you want to do. There's 5 options, and make a research plan where you'll identify sources. I've identified some that you can use, and you'll identify the rest. And then your second task is to read those sources and summarize them, but not summarize them in an academic way, but summarize them for the workplace, which means you take from those sources what you need and identify how you'll use those sources in the memo. So let's look at these assignments. So in week 7, choose an assignment and make a plan. This is a survey. And the first thing you have to do is read the policy memo assignment. So that will download like this. You'll open it. And here you'll see you have 5 options. So let's look at these full screen, maybe. There we go. So the first option is about workplace privacy, and each of these options puts you into a situation where you'll be writing a memo. And you get an audience. In this case, you're working at a Williams group, a technical writing firm, and Susan Williams is the president of the firm, and she's asked you to look at these questions about workplace privacy, about what workers assume, what they think about email and internet use when they're using it at work, and what your recommendations are for setting a workplace privacy policy for all workers. This means you have to balance ethics. This is a super ethical situation, and it's about policy. And policy always means that you have to balance values, attitudes, needs, and norms and the law. And I've given you some sources here. These all link to sources that you can read. You have to have 7 sources this week that you read about this, and this is almost 7, pretty close to 7. There's a kind of a different mix here with each one, and so you'll have to find whatever's missing. So if you want to do workplace privacy, you would read this carefully and then answer the analysis questions in a second. Option 2 is about off-duty conduct. Again, it puts you into a situation. There are questions you'll have to answer in the memo for a certain audience. If you choose this option, there are still sources here for you. Option 3 is about distributing literature in the workplace, and it's based off of an actual situation that you can go and read. And again, there are sources for you. Option 4 is about harassment in the workplace. Again, there are sources for you. And option 5 is about whether or not workplaces should offer continuing education and how that should work. And so all of these, you'll be writing a memo in a workplace, making recommendations about what the policy should be and how it should work. And you get to choose which option you want. And this week, all you're doing is choosing an option and getting the research ready to make that memo. You are not writing the memo, Okay, so let's go back. So it says first read the 5 options. So you're going to do that and then choose one. Second, use the questions on the survey to analyze your option. And finally, find 7 resources you'll use to address the questions posed in the option you choose. And you already have some resources that I've found for you. If you don't like those, you can find others, and some of you will have to add to those depending on which option you choose. So let's just look at the questions. Question 1 asks you to choose one of the options, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then it asks you to explain why you chose that option. And then it asks you what keywords, concepts, or ideas that will need to be researched in order to create that memo, which is just asking you to closely read what you're being asked to do. Then you identify your audience and make a reader profile for that audience. You'll remember like Susan Williams, and you'd have to kind of imagine what type of president that would be. And then after reading your option, what's the purpose of the memo you'll write? And the purpose for these memos are within those options, so read those carefully. And then find and list 7 resources you'll use to address the ideas, concepts, or situations provided in your chosen option. You can take that from the resources I've given you on the assignment page, plus others. And then that's it. And then you save and submit. Okay, so let's go back to week 7. Leave this page. Goodbye. That's due on Wednesday. On Sunday, a research summary is due for each of those 7 sources that you identified in the survey. That research summary isn't a summary like you write for academia. However, I do require for you to use a citation. I give you some places to look for that citation. Purdue OWL gives you instructions. Citation Builder, Citation Machine, and CiteFast are ways to build citations. So you'll give the citation, and then you'll give a summary of that work. In that summary, you need to give me the usable information for each source. What will you use in your memo, and how will you use it? What question basically will it address in that option? And what will it help you do when you write the memo? This is key. Your summary should identify what will be useful from the source for writing your memo. You should paraphrase, summarize, or quote the useful information and explain how you will use it in the memo. So this is kind of workplace summary where you're always working, you're not just summarizing for the sake of summarizing, you're summarizing to use it in some way. And that's really important for you to understand in this assignment, or else it makes like no sense and it makes you angry. Okay, if you have any questions this week, this is due on Sunday. So you read your 7 sources by Sunday, and you identify the usable information for the memo that you'll write next week. You'll have a draft of it on Wednesday. You'll get some feedback, and then you'll rewrite it on Sunday. So one more kind of key thing here. This week is midterm. You're going to be getting a ton of assignments back from me, graded. And I want to set up a time to meet with you, either on phone in the chat room or face-to-face if you're here on the Gulf Coast campus. And so next week, I'll ask you for a time that maybe we could talk, and we'll talk about your progress in the class, how this format's working for you. I know we had some bumps at the beginning because I'm used to a different LMS, and if you're understanding how the class is working out. You all are doing great. The majority of people are turning all of their assignments in online, and the assignments are well done. I'm particularly proud of your work in the discussions. This is maybe the best discussion class online I've ever had. So thank you, and I hope you have a great week.